Hello, this is another US Geoguessr professor video where I take you through 5 rounds in the United States on Geoguessr, and I share with you my thinking, my analysis, and my strategy as we pinpoint exactly where we are in this great country. I hope to improve your US Geoguessr game. I hope to improve your region guessing. Hope to give you a bit of entertainment as well. Today I'm going to go through United States No Blurry for the second time. Enjoyed playing through it once and did pretty well. 24,997, so maybe we could do even better this time, but that would mean 25K pretty much. And let's see where this takes us. Renashi Academy. Norwalk Luggage over there to the left. New England scene, for sure. This red house in front of us is, I would say, very nicely New England. Fits into the New England vibe well. It's kind of, old-fashioned, really. Look at the amount of blue over white plates we have. I don't know why, but it just seems like I'm in Connecticut so often in US Geoguessr. It's a small state, but I guess it's pretty densely populated. I just seem to be plagued by those blue and white plates for some reason. They're really distinct. Straight ahead here, we have a New York plate on this van. That's the distinct New York plate with the blue top and then the bright yellow field. It's mostly bright yellow. So, I would definitely say we're in Connecticut. Do we need to move? I mean, I guess we don't know what road we're on, but we're here at Garden Cinemas. New build construction right across the street from us. I guess I'm just speculating that we're in Norwalk because of the Norwalk luggage, but that would put us near the city. That would put us near New York, and that would very much explain the New York plate on that truck there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see New York plates really anywhere in Connecticut. Gotta think we're in downtown Norwalk. Certainly where it looks like to me. Will I get lucky enough to find this cinema without knowing even what street we're on? Wall Street Theater. Renashi Academy of Hair is where I'm right next to. I guess it's possible we're not in Norwalk. We just have one indication of that. We're certainly close to there in Connecticut, I would think. I'm just going to move down to the intersection, see if we get any more Connecticut goodness. Isaac Street, Pontian Society Way. Who's the Pontian Society? That's interesting. Isaacs and River is where we're at. Arts District? Is there something called the Arts District? Yeah, there's Isaacs. So we were really close to that Wall Street Theater. Why didn't I just zoom in one more? Okay, so yeah, Bubbly's Bubble Tea. That sounds good. We are not at Isaacs and Wall. We're at Isaacs and River, though. Is that a conceivable thing? Oh yeah, there's River coming off of Wall. There's Isaacs. Renashi Academy of Hair. So I could have done this no moving, but we explored a little bit. Got to see a little bit of Norwalk, Connecticut. So, Connecticut, just don't know too much about it, to be perfectly honest. It tends to be a confusing place to me a lot of the time when I'm dropped there in the US. Kind of just is like a blend, I think, of a lot of other states. It's kind of like a blend of Mid-Atlantic and New England. You know, some of this architecture is just super New England, like that red house, right? Couldn't we imagine that red house, like even in Portland, Maine, or like New Hampshire, Vermont? And then it has some kind of like mid-Atlantic architecture. Like this, I think, could be reminiscent of Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania. So Connecticut can be tricky. But if you know you're on the East Coast, those blue and white plates are pretty distinct. I know there's a lot of blue and white plates, but those Connecticut ones, that upper field of blue is pretty blurry, pretty bright. And I don't think you'd be likely to confuse this for, say, a Minnesota plate or something like that. Illinois, old Iowa. So, gotta be on Isaacs in Norwalk, Connecticut. Cool. Good to start off with a 4K. Shout out Renashi, Hair Academy, Norwalk, Connecticut. Much harder round in number 2. I mean, I kind of knew one was coming. Norwalk was pretty easy. This is going to be challenging, though. Definitely think Mountain West. I mean, with these immediate, steep, fairly sparsely covered mountains, all deciduous coverage on the mountains. Or I'm sorry, I think I misspeak on that a lot. My apologies if I do that. All coniferous tree coverage on the mountain. And then farther down, deciduous fall coverage. Why do I feel like there's so much fall coverage in the U.S.? Doesn't really help narrow down where we are. Somewhere certainly sparsely populated. What's the plate situation looking like on this truck? Well, that certainly looks like an Indiana plate, but I don't think there's any way that that's occurring. It's blue. It's definitely giving me blue, and then like a strong blue left. Sapphire Mountains. I feel like I should know where the Sapphire Mountains are. I'm thinking that we're not probably in the Pacific Northwest. We're probably more in like the central mountain west, like in this region here. Some of this is getting down into like high desert though, southern Idaho. So I mean, this is hard, but I would lean towards Montana, Wyoming here. I mean, it certainly looks like we're on a divided interstate. We're going east, at least generally east-west. Rock Creek Road. Rock Creek, exit 126. So probably we're in one of the many states where the exits tell you how far into the state you are. So it seems like we're 126 miles into whatever state we are at. Which would put us, if we're in Montana, up in like northwestern Montana, or over here, maybe around Miles City area. I think I'd expect us to be flatter there in extreme eastern Montana. If we were in Wyoming, let's say we're at exit 126 on 25, which is not really possible because that's more north-south. I would expect us to be more on 80. So let's see, let's think if we're 126 miles into Wyoming on 80, that might put us around Rock Springs. Is that anywhere near Rock Creek Road, I wonder? I mean, it certainly gives me a Wyoming vibe. I think it also gives me a Montana vibe, though. I don't feel super strong in these states, to be perfectly honest. I'm hoping that we're going to get an area code. Yeah, 406. So that's going to be the Montana area code. And I was definitely leaning more towards Montana with the forestation on these mountains. So 126, we're on an interstate that's likely going largely east-west. I mean, we almost have to be the general direction of that interstate. It's more going east-northeast, so east-northeast could possibly put us around Butte. Would that be plausible? It's hard to see where the Indiana border, there's the Indiana-Montana border. At about 126 miles, that would put us somewhere around there, more than likely. Definite that we're in Montana now with that area code. So the general direction of this interstate, I mean, I'm assuming it's an interstate, not a U.S. highway. I suppose we could be up on like U.S. Route 2 or something. Is that what goes through the northern part of Montana? Yeah, US 2. I mean, could that be possible? Yeah, but with these exits, I think we're approaching a rest area, possibly. I'm really expecting this to be an interstate. Mile 126 doesn't give us a lot of help. Beta Alpha Psi, U of M. Well, that adopt a highway sign gives us some help. Notice the blue and white adopt a highway sign. I admit that I'm not down to the level of memorizing my adopt a highway signs. I feel like that's a good next step, though. That would be helpful. That adopt a highway sign really makes me think of Montana. I think there's a beer, Montucky Cold Snacks, that has that kind of logo on it. That kind of like Montana Mountain Skyline logo. Maybe I'm making that up. I feel like we see that on one version of the Montana plates too. So I feel like originally I think I was doing all right. I think we were on 90. Were we though? U of M. Okay, so U of M, University of Montana is in Missoula. It is in Missoula. But generally, it seems like we're going generally east, but 90 goes generally east, and in places it could definitely be going northeast as well. So it's a windy interstate. It goes southeast in places, goes northeast. I think here it's just going generally east, in some cases northeast. So I would say that then that would put us somewhere west of Houston here. I wouldn't be surprised if we are not that far away from Missoula. I mean, Montana's a very big state, but if I had to estimate 126 miles in Montana, probably is going to put us somewhere before Missoula, and probably somewhere in this range. Alberton? Could we be somewhere near Alberton? Something Creek Road is what we were on. 126. One thing I wish we got is more exit numbers on the Google Maps there. I don't think that was Petty Creek Road. We're not that. Yeah, Rock Creek Road. Rock Creek. This is Petty Creek Road. Would Rock Creek be somewhere over here? I'm not sure if I really feel like messing around northwest Montana too much, but I feel like we got to be in this range, and it looked like there was a picnic area or something. U of M, so we're going north. I think this would put us somewhere in this region. Maybe a little closer to Missoula. Wow, a lot closer to Missoula. Wowie. Well east of Missoula. Okay. Well, I just kind of misjudged just how much 126 would be. There's Rock Creek Airport. Was Rock Creek on the map? Would that have been findable on the scan? Valley of the Moon? Nah. Oh, that would have been tough. I think that would have been really tough. I don't feel too bad. 39 miles away, northwestern Montana. 4640, I feel. Pretty good guess. We were on 90. Let's move on. Okay. Folsom Museum. Interesting. Folsom. East. 325. We have a rather desolate desert landscape, do we not? Des Moines. Des Moines. Is that what that says? Des Moines 5. Are we anywhere near Des Moines, Iowa? That seems implausible, right? So that has like a mountain, Folsom Museum. There's got to be another Des Moines for sure. Okay, I moved accidentally, but to be honest, I wanted to move to get clarity on that state highway sign. Okay, that's exactly what I thought. I thought I saw the red outline there very faintly. East 325. That is going to be a New Mexico sign. So we are on an east-west road in New Mexico. It appears as if we are in Folsom, New Mexico. That's the Folsom Museum. Also appears like Des Moines, New Mexico, is 6 miles to the east of us. So let's consider a bit of region guessing here, shall we? I would venture to say that we're somewhere in southern part of New Mexico. I think certainly south of Albuquerque is a decent shot because I'm not seeing much in the way of mountains. Seems pretty flat, pretty arid, pretty dry. We're not certainly in hardcore desert, but we're in some like brown, relatively flat landscape. There seems to be like a lone mesa there to the east, and then some shallower, lower mountains there to the west. I think I've certainly heard of Folsom, New Mexico. I might just be making that up, and there's another Folsom somewhere. That design, though, is so indicative of New Mexico on the county signs, the state highway signs, rather. So I would really be very wedded to the idea that we're in New Mexico for sure. But where's Folsom and where could we possibly be? Could we be a little bit farther up in New Mexico? And Des Moines, okay, yeah, we're much higher up than I thought, but we're in the extreme northeastern corner of the state, which would explain the relative lack of mountains and the relative aridity. Yeah, so there's Folsom. Cool. Didn't take much scanning in New Mexico. It really wasn't even in the part of the state that I was thinking. I was really, I convinced it was south of 40, farther down, but I'm not at all surprised to learn that it's up near the like Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. It certainly has that same feel, you know, maybe a little bit more mountainous with those off in the distance, but it certainly has that same feel as, say, Amarillo area or like over here in Guyman, Oklahoma. I think those would be maybe a little bit less desert feeling than this. There's Des Moines. I mean, I'm just assuming it's pronounced the same way as Des Moines, Iowa. Never heard of Des Moines, New Mexico. So I really have to assume that we're right there at the main intersection. Yeah, there's Folsom Museum. Only moved one step. Don't feel too bad. For the Folsom Museum, Folsom, New Mexico. 2 yards away, nice. 14,640. I mean, we might have a respectable round going. But getting very, very rural here. What state could we be in? Road 759. And I am going to have to take a step. Oh no, not into Gen 1 coverage. What does the other road say? Tell me, please. Okay, here we go. 426, 759. I'm going to checkpoint that, just so I know. Road 759 is going east-west, and road 426 is going generally north-south. I'm going to orient myself north. Got a silo, got a typical Nebraska-looking silo, or really like several of them off in the distance. We're certainly in the Great Plains, right? We're on a complicated grid system, a rural grid system. Road 426, Road 759. I don't immediately recognize it, so I'm going to ruminate for a bit. I don't think this is Nebraska or North Dakota. This is not the North Dakota statewide system for sure. We would be looking at something that'd be like 175th Avenue Northeast or something like that. Does South Dakota have a similar but slightly different grid system that might line up with this? Nah, see, they're on like streets and avenues too. Road 426, Road 759. What does Iowa do in terms of the rural road? I feel like I had a rural Iowa round the other day. Yeah, it has letters. That's right. Letters. Y Avenue, X Avenue. Road 426 and 759. How about Kansas? We're just going to do a grand tour of the Great Plains states. I mean, I don't think it's Nebraska, even though those silos made me think about Nebraska. Yeah, Kansas matches up. Okay, maybe I haven't been in rural Kansas for a while, but this looks like a Kansas rural grid system. 426 and 759. Is there any rhyme nor reason to the Kansas system? Let's go way out here in like southwestern Kansas. These are pretty high numbers. Not getting those anymore. Doesn't look like Kansas has a statewide system. 160, a south 140. Damn you, Kansas. I thought we had the answer. I don't think this is Nebraska. I really don't. They have letters as well, just like Iowa. I know. Yeah, I think we're barking up the wrong tree here. I think we're in Kansas. But where's 426 and 759? Is much of Kansas not on this system? May not be. It's the only clue we have so far, though. Spent 4 minutes trying to decipher just the grid off of that road, but Kansas would be super plausible here. Let's go south. I mean, this is the kind of round where we're going to get a bunch of Gen 1 coverage. I mean, even though I'm playing a map called United States No Blurry, unfortunately we're going to get some blurriness. Yeah, I mean, it's real flat. Where would we be if we are indeed in Kansas? We didn't find anything resembling that grid. So 426 and 759, I believe, are the numbers. I don't think it's incredibly meaningful. We just need to find out kind of where we are. So there's 426, and it's put us out at Highway 30. That's definitely helpful, because I have to think that we're talking about US Highway 30. Yeah, and since we're going south into that, that would make sense. Highway 30, Art Becker Trucking. Art Becker Trucking. Where could you possibly be, Art Becker? There's that trapezoidal Nebraska state highway sign, I think. So that would mean we're in Nebraska. Okay, so East 30 and North Nebraska 21. I didn't think that system was going to be in Nebraska, of course, but I was proven wrong. I'm wrong so many times. It's not even funny. So Route 30, we're going to be significantly north of where I was fooling around down there in Kansas. And yeah, we're going to be in this 30, kind of like sweeping through Nebraska on the Platte River. Unfortunately, 30 goes all the way through the state, so we have to be looking at North 21. Is that North 21? That seems to be County 21. Or is that a State Highway 21 that we're looking at? So, at some point, US 30 and Nebraska 21 run together. If we find out where that is, I believe we are going to find wherever the heck we are. And I believe it to be Lexington, Nebraska. Because there is 21. So does it appear that 30 and 21 run together? It does. It really does. North 21. So could we be outside here of... I've forgotten the name of random town already. Lexington, Nebraska. There's so many Lexingtons. So there's 437. There's 436. This is promising. So Road 436 and Route 30. But we were on 436 and, going to return to checkpoint here, 759. So there's 755. Where the heck's 759? Did I really go that far? Wow, did I? I don't think I did. There's Road 426 and Road 759. Okay, so that would put us, northeast of Lexington, Nebraska. Road 756, 755, 437. Ooh, no. 426 and 759. 426. I caught myself. I said, I don't think we went nearly that far, did we? To get to Route 30? I really don't think we did. So then that would put us more at Dar, Nebraska. Dar, Nebraska. 426 and 759. There's 426. There's 759. This is way more reasonable. Yeah. It also would explain the fact that we weren't seeing anything that looked like even remotely like a town, like that we were in. Okay, so we didn't move very far from the jump. We were just right there. So we're going to be, that's looking west, really just south of that intersection. Nice. 5K. So we explored the beautiful locale of Dar, Nebraska. I think there was a butcher there. Dar, yeah. We'll have to see how far out that was in Nebraska. I mean, pretty far out. I mean, like, pretty far west in Nebraska. Okay, looks to be like some high desert kind of terrain. We get low, scrubby bushes. We get a cattle gate there. We get some hills that are not particularly forested or vegetated at all. They're low, they're these kind of rolling hills. They get a little bit higher off in the distance. There's a smattering of trees on them. I tell you, there's nothing about this that immediately yells at me and really tells me where we are. I think we're going to have to move. We're in a pretty desolate location. Where could this possibly be? It also looks fairly agricultural. Looks like there is a good amount, really, of farmland there. Could we be like in Great Basin, high desert? By which I mean maybe like southeastern Oregon, southwestern Idaho, maybe southeastern Idaho, somewhere like that. I think that'd be plausible. It's very agricultural, and I know that there's certainly parts of that region that are very agricultural. I think we got our hardest round yet. I mean, we'll review at the end. I don't remember what I got that 4640 on, just right off the top of my head, but this is definitely going to be our toughest round so far. I think I might just have to region guess a little bit here. Where could we possibly be? I mean, it looks really dry. The thing that's making me confused is just generally the lack of any real coniferous trees or evergreens. I feel like if we were up, certainly if we were up in Oregon, even out in desert Oregon, we'd be seeing a lot of coniferous trees. We'd be seeing a lot of pines. I feel like we have to be farther south. I feel like we could be even, with this road, no. I don't know. Kind of embarrassed to say I don't even have a guess yet on this round. Haven't seen anything that would lead me really in any kind of firm direction. We don't have a black California stripe. The road is a little grainy. I mean, it's vaguely reminiscent of a Texas road, but I don't think this is Texas. I really don't. Certainly doesn't remind me of anywhere immediately in Texas, but Texas is a very diverse place. Same with California. This is an incredibly confusing round to me. If you've watched this far in the video, thank you. Thanks for doing that. But you're watching me be confused. So you made it through 4 really good rounds, or at least 3 pretty good ones. All right, what is that plate? Is that... is this a plate I'm not going to know? It's blue. It's blue. That's not one of those turquoise New Mexico plates, I don't think. Is that a Montana? I think there's like a couple different varieties of Montana. I don't think it's an Oregon. Be a little more like greenish purple. It looks blue. This might be the only clue I'm going to get, though. Might have to hold on to this license plate. I'm sure if anybody's watching, somebody's yelling. They're like, damn you, man, I know where that plate is. I'm still confused. I got a plate and I'm still confused. Could this be like eastern Montana, Wyoming, sort of like where we started? Miami. I mean, it certainly would be in a different location. It certainly would be like eastern Montana, as opposed to over by Missoula, I think, almost assuredly. It's desolate. It could certainly be over in that eastern Montana, northern Wyoming region. Would these hills be this kind of low and deforested, I wonder? Somewhere with these cattle grates. I feel like I see a lot of those in Wyoming. Whatever highway we're on is going east-west. Frank Ranches. Well, there's a ranch, thanks. It's telling me I'm somewhere out west where there could be a ranch. That's not particularly helpful. Can we narrow down anything by the fact that there was a front plate there? I mean, it only eliminates that it couldn't have been a turquoise New Mexico, but I was pretty convinced this wasn't New Mexico. I mean, there's no way. Gotta be farther north than that, I would think. It's the graininess of this road and not like Texas. Nah, I mean, there's nowhere in. I don't think there's anywhere in Texas. It's like the end of the day. Maybe my brain's just used up, but I'm having an incredibly hard time this round. There's these kind of black bollards. I haven't seen a state highway sign that would give me a hint as to what state we're in. I've only seen that one car, vaguely bluish plates. I'm tempted to go that Montana, Wyoming chunk of the country. Wouldn't be surprised if it was a little farther west than that, maybe like eastern Idaho high desert. That gets pretty agricultural around there. Those were not Idaho plates, though, so I think I'm going to discount Idaho a little bit just because those were not Idaho plates. What plate is this? Come on. It's not in Oregon. What plate has that, like, farming? It's like a green pasture scene. What is it? What is it? Is that? Nah, I think that's just like a crack. That's not a California black stripe. I got like super excited for a sec. Really don't think we're like in Northern California. Be a lot more coniferous. Coal Mine Road. You're not giving me much help, even with 9 minutes. Is there some sort of stop sign meta there? Might be able to help me with? Kind of like some mesa-looking building, or like formations out there. I feel like we've been going kind of largely north-northeast. Does anywhere in this region match up with that? Yeah, for sure. Could this be like alternate 14 through like Powell, Wyoming? Crow agencies. Could we be? Yeah, I mean, think we'd be more mountainous over here. I'm gonna go like right here. Northern. Okay, right state. I was in the right state at least. I think I'm gonna take that. My Wyoming region guessing was not on point. I feel like that might be one of the worst guesses that I have recorded and committed to video. But it was the last one. 23-1-1-1. I think rounds get worse, especially when I'm real confused in Montana and Wyoming. Those are tough. I tell you, that Wyoming really was just a shot in the dark. I thought we were probably somewhere there. I erred on the side of being closer to Montana, and that really was obviously a mistake. I really would have thought there in sort of more central Wyoming, it just would have been a lot more mountainous. I managed 3 5Ks though, not bad. Norwalk, Connecticut in round one. Outside of Missoula, just on the other side of Missoula, Montana on Route 90. Got the right road, got around Missoula, so not bad on that one. Round 3, way northern New Mexico, Folsom, New Mexico, found that, not bad. And then Dar, Nebraska, yeah, out by Cozad, so way western Nebraska, or more like, hey, more like central Nebraska, really. And then just an eyes closed plonk in Wyoming, and just didn't region guess it well, but Wyoming, it's rough. What are you gonna do? Thank you for watching. Hope I gave you some thoughts about the U.S. Hope I gave you some room to improve your U.S. GeoGuessr game. Maybe a little entertainment in the process. Maybe you liked seeing me getting lost in Wyoming. Thanks.